Hi everyone, have a good day. This is Anandraj. I am from the Department of PG and Research of Computer Research Department of Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence from St.Joseph College of Arts and Science Autonomous Cuddalore. I am here to take the topic of representation and mapping in the subject of Introduction of AI, and the subject code is AI 204 from the fourth unit. This is the table of content of representation of mapping. It has three types. First one is framework of knowledge representation. Second is representation of facts. Third one is using knowledge. And this is the representation of mapping. Representation and mapping. It shows the when we collect knowledge, we are faced with the problem of how to record it. And when we try to build the knowledge base, and we have the similar problem of how to represent it. Second thing is we could just write down what we are told, but as the information grows, it becomes more and more difficult to keep track of the relationship between the items. It has the facts and the representation of facts. The facts means truths about the real world and what we represent. This can be regarded as the base knowledge level. And representation of facts are that which we manipulate. This can be regarded as the symbol level, since we usually define the representation in terms of symbols that can be manipulated by programs. This is the framework of knowledge representation. The framework of knowledge representation has the a computer requires a well-defined program. A computer requires a well-defined problem description to process and provide well-defined acceptable solution. And second one is to collect the fragment of knowledge. We first need to formulate a description in our spoken language and then represent it in formal language so that the computer can understand. That means if the problem has been defined properly, that is the problem, we need to describe the problem what we'll do, and this will give the acceptable solution from written to us. First we need to give the problem in our spoken language, and it will transform to the formal language in the computer for understanding. This is the framework of knowledge representation. First, there is a formal and informal solution way is there. In formal way, we give the representation and it will give the output, and informal way, they give the problem and give the solution. It will give the representation of how to solve and how to interpret it will give. And this is the steps of knowledge representation. In these steps, there are three steps are there. The first one is the informal formation of the problem takes place first. It is in the represent formally, and the computer produces the output. This output can be represented in the informally described solution that the user understand or checks for consistency. This is the representation of facts. The second one is representation of facts. It has two types. First, the representation of facts are those which we manipulate. This can be regarded as the symbol level, since we normally define the representation in terms of symbols that can be manipulated by programs. We can structure these entities in two levels. First one is knowledge level, and second one is symbol level. The knowledge level is at which the fact are going to be described, and symbol level at which the representation of object are going to be defined in terms of symbols that can be manipulated in programs. This is the facts. This is the reasoning programs, English understanding and English generation. These are the main things. It gives the if you give the facts means it move to internal representation, and internal representation move to facts. The internal representation, which means it is the English representation, that is English generation. It gives the generation and it will gives the machine understanding, that is English understanding. It will gives the facts to the internal representation. These are the two entities of knowledge representation. This is the representation of facts. This have the if we example of the natural language, that is our English, is the way of representing and handling the facts. The logic enables us to consider the following facts. Spot is the dog, represent as dog. If the spot is a dog, it will be represented as a dog. We infer that all dogs have tails. Dog of X has a tail of X, according to the logical conclusion, as the tail has a spot. Using a backward mapping function, spot has a tail can be generated. That is, the first thing it will start as dog has represented as a spot, and the last way the spot has represented to the tail. So it will be generated as first to last. This is the representation of facts. And the third one is we move to using knowledge. In using knowledge, we have In using knowledge, we have briefly discusses about where we can use knowledge. Let us consider how knowledge can be used in various applications. That is, one is learning, retrieval, and reasoning. First, we see the learning. Learning is acquiring knowledge. It simply means adding new facts to the knowledge base. New data may have to be classified prior to store for easy retrieval, interaction, and inference with the existing facts, and has to avoid redundancy and replication in the knowledge. These facts should also be updated. Second thing is retrieval. Using the representation scheme shows a critical effect on efficiency of the method. Humans are very good at it. Many AI methods have tried to model the humans. Third one is reasoning. Get or infer facts from the existing data. Okay, thank you.